Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Ẹ máa gbọ́ àgbẹ̀. Lórí Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Ẹ máa gbọ́.
The studio time check says it's 4 minutes past 1 p.m. from West Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred awesome radio, located at Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan, in the state of Oyo State. So, I'd like to welcome you once again to ORO AGBE on West Radio 89.3 FM. Where every action matters, where you learn, relearn, and be able to equip yourself with adequate capacity that will help you to maximize the wealth that resides within the agricultural sector. And it's always a great pleasure to be here every week discussing the wealth that resides within the agricultural sector. And we're talking about the wealth. We're not talking about the monetary place alone. We're talking about the encompassing things that brings wealth to you, from the producer to the input suppliers to the policy makers to every actor of the chain, down to the consumers who are the most and the principal actor of the chain. So we're talking about the wealth and culture. We're talking about everybody from the food chores to the mother to the father to the children to everyone concerned. You have the right and the access to the world that resides. This is West Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred awesome radio. Akenyika Sole Nkosi and Adeku Ewo Oshu Tutu Oshu Alafia Oshu Ayo Oshu Ìdùnnú Oshu Lọ́sọ́jọ́ máa jẹ́ fún wa o. Ibi kan ò ní bá sọ́dẹ̀ wa o. Àmárítàjẹ́ ṣe àmárọ́nà gbégbà lóṣù yìí o. Tíbi bá ń lọ lọ́tún kò ní bá wa. Tó bá ń bọ̀ lósì kò ní bá wa o. Àtẹ̀yìn àtẹ̀mí ojoojúmọ́ ire ayọ̀ àti àlàáfíà ni. Lórúkọ aláṣẹ ìkànnì yìí àti olùdarí ní ẹ̀ka kọ̀ọ̀kan, mo fẹ́ máa kí wa káàsán pé adẹ̀káàbọ̀ sí orí ètò ọ̀rọ̀ àgbẹ̀ on West Radio 89.3 FM. Kànga agbọ́nmágbẹ́ni tó kún fún ọgbọ́n, ìmọ̀ àti òye. Kànga mọ̀lẹ́bí àkọ́kọ́, ìkànnì mọ̀lẹ́bí àkọ́kọ́ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ lélẹ̀. This is the first family radio where we talk about everything that concerns family. Welcome again to West Radio. You can be part of this show from our Facebook. Just go to West Radio 89.3 fan page. You'll be there, see us live. Drop your comment and you will definitely be part of it. And you can even listen to us live from our website, www.westradio893.com. Connect with us and let's ride together on this show. Yeah, it's another time, another Tuesday to look at the world that resides in our culture. And today, let's look at things together. Many things have happened over the time. When you lose a loved one, we always have a thought that kilo shele. But one thing we have ignored over the time is when a food is placed before you, how safe is that food? Àwọn rò pé bóyá májèlé nìkan á ní food poisoning bí wọ́n ti dá májèlé sínú oúnjẹ ni, ṣùgbọ́n ẹ wá náà. Even the WHO tells us that in every 10 people, one of them always a victim of food poisoning via contamination, via so many factors. The question is, how safe is our food? When our food is not safe, definitely we can't access the wealth that resides. Definitely our health is not safe. Aside even the cost of going to the hospital, let's look at the productivity, let's look at the economic effect of unsafe food. And I'm not here alone. I'm here with a certified safety professional and also an agribusiness consultant. Join me to welcome Idowu Okungbewa on the show. Idowu, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be back at West Radio Studio. And I think we'll be having a nice time today. This discussion is very important and it's very close to my heart as an individual. As a safety officer, we give a lot of attention to things that ordinarily people don't give attention to, because it is our duty to ensure safety of lives, safety of property, safety of economy, everything that has to do with protection, that makes sure at the end of the day, you're in the course of you trying to engage in what is supposed to be productive, you are not exposed to things that will cause a damage to you. So it's nice to be here once again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy New Month, though.
I wish you the same. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I believe our listeners, mo mọ̀ pé ẹ ti ṣetán láti jọ lọ nínú ìrìnàjò, ṣùgbọ́n a máa sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ òyìnbó lónìí o, kí ẹ bá fara mọ́. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ òyìnbó ni mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé bó ṣe ọ̀kan bó ṣe méjì ẹ̀kọ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan la máa kọ́ nínú ẹ̀. Yeah, before we move on, let me ask you this question. You're eating today. How safe is the food you ate today?
Wow. That's a very difficult question. I will find hard to give an answer to. Because, as you have said, what makes up food is a combination of various things.
Exactly.
For example, we are talking about the food itself, that's the raw
materials that are being processed.
We are talking about the additives we bring into the food. Then we are talking about that which we usually give less attention to, water. which is the solution upon which these mixtures are going to come in together. So at the end of the day, they end up determining how safe your food is. I will quickly give you, let me just move a little. There are, in storing your raw materials for cooking now, because you asked me about food, so we want to start with just, we want to take a little aspect of the food preparation process. Now, keeping your food in a refrigerator is usually approached as a one size fits all, but it's not so. If you are refrigerating your fish, your poultry item, you should make sure that your freezer is not anything less than 85 degrees Fahrenheit.
Why?
Because that is the minimum temperature that the pathogens that live inside your poultry products, that they will not be able to multiply. But that is not expected for a case. I talked about chicken. It's not expected in the case of fish. Now, see, as insignificant as both differentials are, how many of us even store our food items in the freezer, taking into consideration of preserving the food? We are only concerned about the freshness. We don't think about that. There are other factors that determines whether the food will come out, though fresh, but it has been contaminated.
For people that doesn't even have light. They don't have light, they don't have solar.
Okay.
And they want to preserve at that level consistently. Not just once.
I'm going to try. One of the things I told myself that as we'll be here today, I'm going to try as much as possible to let the listeners understand that though, according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, every citizen is entitled to the right to life. And one of the responsibilities of the executive arm of government is to ensure that they protect and preserve the fundamental rights of their citizens, which includes right to life. But today, I want to challenge the citizens to take the protection of their life and their right to life into their hands. Get me? Is in the context of the discussion we are having, not necessarily in the context of security that most people will go to their mind. No, in the context of the discussion we are having, there is need for us to start understanding that the executive, especially in the sub-Saharan Africa, they have failed in the area of protecting food and the content of food as it affects what an average individual consumes. So there is need for us to start asking ourselves, this food I want to eat, how can I preserve it? How can I ensure that the food is safe for eating? I think.
Yeah. Now let's move straight into let's dive deeper into this truth now. Let's start it from the origin of the food. The food doesn't start from your table. It starts from the farm. It doesn't start from the table. It starts from the farm. Because when the farmer doesn't exist, then the food doesn't exist. Now, from the farm, whether imported or locally produced, irrespective of the source, the food starts from the farm. The role of the farmer, the role of the policymaker, the role of the input suppliers. Consumers plays a little role in this, because aside preservation of what they paid for themselves, most of the responsibility of the safety of the food. So let's start from there. On whose table the responsibility of the safety of the food lies? On the table of the consumer, on the table of the policymakers, the table of the producers, or the producer of the processor. On whose table does the safety of the food lies?
Thank you very much, Dickie. I don't want to say I want to correct a statement you just made, but I will say in my opinion, the food process doesn't start in the farm. The food process starts before it gets to the farm. Now, what do I mean? An average farmer in the 20th into the 21st century no longer has direct control over his input and his seeds. So he comes into the process, the farmer comes into the process at the point where he is buying the seeds, where he's acquiring the all other inputs.
But he has the right to have the knowledge about what he wants to buy.
No, now you are jumping the gun. I'm answering the question, where does the process start? Sorry, just give me a minute.
Because one thing is, yes, I agree with that.
Now,
okay, let me have your thought.
The process doesn't start from the farm, because now the farmer in itself is limited by what he's going to do. What do I mean? Now, okay, we'll dive into that much later on. Now, you ask three sets of people, say, where does the process start? Does it start from the policy makers? Does it start from the input producers? Does it start from the farm? So, for me, on the hierarchy, the third on that hierarchy is the farmer. The people who determines where the process of agriculture should start should be the policy makers. Now, you remember I started by saying that every citizen is entitled to the right to life, according to the fundamental human right entrenched on the Constitution. No. Right to life is entrenched on the Constitution of the country. And it is the responsibility of the executive arm of government to ensure that such rights are protected. So, taking that into this discussion, it is the function of the executive to come up with a team of professionals. And they need to ask themselves questions like, in order for us to preserve the life of our citizens, as it affects the area of what they consume, what should they consume and what should be the state of the health of the inputs that they are consuming?
That will be used. So that's where it starts. Now, the policies that will be put in place, it will drive the producers to ensure that they produce within that policy, the previous of the policy that has been put in place. I'll give an example. Of course, you know that the same item of, let's say, a maize seed may have different inputs that is applicable in different countries. There are some countries that will tell you, because the chemicals that you used in preserving this item is in this seed, you can't bring them into our country. Very good example is the Gamali 20 as being used by cocoa producers. A lot of people have long written it off, but you still have some few people who still allow this slide. So the question here is the responsibility of the producers, seed producers, input producers, is to ensure that they produce items that aligns with the policy that the government put in place. Once it's fixed in those places, then what is now accessible to the farmers becomes what has met the standard as approved by the policymakers. Yeah, the reason why I said the farm is that farmers themselves, they don't know what they wanted. They don't have adequate knowledge about what is needed. What do I mean? Okay, now, at times, the government could put up a policy. Now, most of us, nowadays children, they don't know how banana was some years back. Those banana in those years, in the early days of our own life, banana has seed inside. But now, most of them, what they know is just a big banana, a fleshy banana. Now, by virtue of the increasing rate of population and demand placed on food and essence of food security, many things has been done, many things has happened over the years. Farmers themselves, because they too, they want to produce more, they go for whatever can give them more, because there is no adequate system. But if farmers are ready, they are conscious that, okay, I'm not here to just produce, because tabaso kò sọjà barale ẹni. Because whatever you are doing, invariably it will affect your family. So if you have that consciousness, now the government will do anything that will favor them. Unless we have a government that are more concerned about the safety of the citizenry. Now look at a case. You can't take a maize from Nigeria to US. You can't take a maize seed from Nigeria to UK. They will not allow it. Number one, because there's no traceability. And because they are so conscious about the safety of the food, because they have the producers who produce the seed themselves. And they even go for anywhere they can be sure that the safety of the seeds is guaranteed, of which we lack here adequately. And as a result, consumers have no option. In that hierarchy, as we discussed, as we said earlier, the policymaker takes number one. The input seller, yes, and the farmers. The consumer is not even at the base of the pyramid at all. Because if those three metrics is being done adequately, now at the advent of the noise about organic or this or that, making the consumer to start be afraid of, okay, which one? Let me go for this. But they don't even know which, because even the one they are going for as organic is not even organic.
I'm sure we are going to flow into that discussion. The question I want to ask is, what is the level of knowledge of our society concerning food safety?
Exactly.
Now, what we have is the fear of the noise about food safety, and which is generally GMO. An average individual doesn't even know. Yeah, he can quickly Google his phone, take his phone and Google GMO, genetically modified organisms, okay, GMO. Okay, how does it affect food production? In itself, is GMO a bad thing? What led to GMO? What are the successes that GMO has recorded? What are the challenges and the limitations that GMO is bringing to the system? Now, GMO as a discussion topic is entirely different.
It's even different.
It's entirely different from food safety.
It's different from food safety.
So what we are suffering in our own environment is
the knowledge of the food.
We are taking GMO as the scapegoat to hide behind our failure in managing food safety. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. Now, do you know that as terrible as almost everything that is said about GMO, they are all speculations. What do I mean they are all speculations? The normal fear. I took time to do my research about GMO when this whole matter was picking up. America today is still the highest cultivator of GMOs, genetically modified organisms that are imputed into the agriculture. Europe, Brazil, India, they are one of the top 5 producers of GMO. Now, you are going to hear things like, yes, they produce them and they ship them to Africa. So the question we ask is, where there is no market,
how many products of Brazil come to Africa?
So
Brazil products goes to America, goes to China, goes to
this
India.
Information. Now we have the other sense of people who says that there's a secret, there is a ulterior motive to. I don't even want to go into those.
No, we are not having that discussion here.
But the question we should really be talking about is that
our food
safety. 3 things is what we must take into consideration when we are considering the safety of our food. The first one is biological safety. Mm-hmm. The next one is chemical safety. Mm-hmm. The third one is physical safety. Mm-hmm. Then physical safety will break into environmental. Mm-hmm. Now, if we understand that most of the challenges that we are having, let me use the case of cholera, for example, can be traced to food safety,
water poisoning,
food contamination, water contamination. Now, people forget also the fact that part of what contaminates water doesn't necessarily have to do with input from the farm. Environmental factors.
Environmental factors are even there.
Pollution
everywhere.
CO2 emission. They all can contaminate your food. Now, storage, just like I said, biological contamination. Imagine in your fridge, you are keeping, your fridge is not working so well. You bought chicken, you bought meat from the market, and it's dripping. Then you drop it at the top shelf of your fridge, and just underneath it, you have maybe rice beans exposed. It's contaminated already. So now, you will see that if we understand that these and many more, or let's talk about usage of herbicides and pesticides. Now, these things, they are washed into the soil, and from the soil, they go into the roots. Now, you feel you are using your herbicide to destroy the weeds around the crop. But at the end, they all go into the root, and the tap root takes in the contaminated water back into the item, and they end up where? On the table. So, all these things are eventually what makes our food unsafe. Then we're not talking about, of course, before we move into preparation process, do we know that? At least I can tell you this as a safety officer. I can speak for Lagos State. I can speak for partially Ogun State. Lagos State has what's called Lagos Safety Commission. And they are big on food safety. They go around restaurants. I'm not talking about inspectors. You know the normal inspectors, their name again, sanitary officers, the one that wear purple and white. No, I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about trained safety professionals that goes into restaurants, that goes into supermarkets, want to see how your safety policy manual, they want to see your procedure for ensuring that your food preservation process are within the approved limits. They want to see how you dispose items, or to make sure, because they understand that what contaminates food is most likely what you will not notice or see. So it becomes the responsibility of government to initiate. It is the responsibility of government to ensure compliance. But unfortunately, we don't even know the position of government in most of these things. I don't know if you have had any government release maybe in the past 5 years. Let's use the states that we are broadcasting from. I don't know if in the last 4 years you have seen any policy documents, any release circular that has to that talks about preservation of food. All we hear is food security.
All we hear is let's give farmers fertilizer.
That's food security. That's food security. We don't hear food safety. Most times, it takes responsibility to balance security with safety. Because, let's take example, do you want to use a fertilizer that is not balanced, that the composition is not balanced? You are so concerned about quantity.
Not even that one. Let's even look at all these chemicals, all these fungicides and insecticides that are being banned in all those
other countries, but they are cheap.
But by virtue of weather conditions, the tropical environment we are, they are the one that can give us results.
Those results we use them.
And number one, there is no farm management control system. Nobody checks whatever you used. Nobody checks, even at our border level, nobody checks anything. Nobody checks look at the entire chain. There's no control measure.
There is a
so
that's okay. Let me not just brand figures.
That's what I asked you the other time.
Let me not brand.
Are you sure your food is safe?
Let me not brand statistics that are not verified. But you will agree with me that quite a large number of our inputs are all imported.
Almost all.
That's why I said I don't want to give statistics. So let me just use a subjective.
No. Okay, let's check it. The seed you use is imported. The only time it's not imported is the land you are using.
No. Even the land in itself.
If it's soilless, it's imported.
So that's that way.
So everything you use is imported.
When you look at that most of our inputs are imported.
Are beyond our control.
The first responsibility of government, because the government has a on paper system for controlling imports. They make sure they go through safety checks. That is on paper. But you also agree with me that though these products are not accepted, but they are in our local market, how did they get in? Why don't Europe and America accept some of the products we produce here? Traceability. that is no longer news. But is it that they are in itself unhealthy, or there is no system to trace? I'll give an example. I also want to speak now as an accountant. A receipt has some vital information that it should contain. Depending on the product you are buying, it should have things like batch number. It should have things like not just costs. It should have things like batch number, things that makes it possible for us to be able to trace it. So that if there is an issue tomorrow, let's say there is an epidemic that can be traced to a particular usage of a product that found its way into the market, it will now become easy for the people that believe they have been harmed to come up with a class action and sue those who brought in those products, because they will not only be treated as a criminal issue, they will also be treated as a civil issue. So, but in the place where we cannot trace our input, automatically it means I cannot guarantee the result. That is basically why when I hear people say government should invest so much in agriculture is the way, we have comparative, as I say, are you sure we have comparative advantage or we have comparative disadvantage? We have comparative disadvantage because we can go ahead and produce all these things and they will all rot in our ports. The government need to fix policy and an implementation of those policies that aligns with global standards before we start dealing with the issues that we are talking about.
Yeah, before we go on break, as safety officer, let me ask you this question before you go on break. What you can control, how safe can it be?
What you can't control is unsafe. It's safer because what you can't control is better we accept it as an unsafe than for us to assume it might be safe. I don't know if you get me. Because now, life is what we are talking about here. Mm-hmm. Now, there is a chance that we may not get the opportunity to refix life. So if I cannot guarantee a product, it is safer for me to assume that the product is unsafe than for me to assume that it's safe. In the issue of life, it's safer to be pessimistic than to be optimistic, where you don't have verifiable facts.
Where you don't have control.
When you don't have control, that means you don't have control. If I don't have control, it's safer for me to assume it's not safe than for me to leave it to chance.
Okay, now the reason I asked the question is, number one, all our inputs, majority are imported. We don't have control over it. Our processes, they are imported. We don't have control over it. The only thing we have control over is the farmer and the land.
No, Dickie, let me quickly say something. Everywhere in the world, the farmer doesn't have control.
Doesn't have control?
Everywhere in the world. Because we need to be correcting these things so that people don't always feel some of these discussions we have, they are only peculiar to us as a country. The people who have control over the inputs of farmers are the regulatory authorities. They are the regulatory authorities. Different regulatory authorities exist. Seed companies are being regulated. Borderlines are being regulated. So if the people who are responsible with that power to ensure that the right quality of inputs is what finds its way into the market, then the farmer can now buy what he said. The farmer must trust a system. How many farmers how many products do people know? Who has the template? Who has the input? Who has what the composition of an average product? And what
composition. So, who has detailed information of the component of what is being used?
But there are agencies. There are agencies
being used, and
there are agencies.
And consumers are at the mercy of them all.
So there are agencies.
Let me pause the thought. Let's quickly go on a short break, and when we return, we take it off from there to have a depth of knowledge of how safe is the food you are eating. Are you sure your food is safe? So thank you. This is West Radio at 9.3 FM. Don't go away. Don't change the dial. We'll be right back.
wholesome radio.
How long will it take you to confirm payment? I have been waiting for the past 1 hour.
I'm so sorry. Our network is slow. I will just run out of data.
Same excuse yesterday. It is unacceptable, please. You better switch to One Data Internet Service.
One Data?
Yes, One Data. One Data is an internet service provider with the best alternative and solution for unlimited speed. One Data provides fast and reliable internet service to organizations, homes, and places of interest in Nigeria. With One Data, you get to enjoy the premium internet service with dedicated unlimited internet speed at all times, 24/7 fantastic customer service and support, and you enjoy a 1-month free subscription when you make payment. Now is the time to say goodbye to downtimes. Sign up with One Data today on 0811 223 2671 or visit www.onedata.ng for more inquiries. One Data, unlimited speed.
Oh yeah, if you like sports wella, make I reason you sports assembly on Top World Radio 89.3 FM. You want hear latest gist, analysis wey get vibration.
Firmino excellent, Scott Mark everybody, Lisandro
He
Martinez.
don't drill them for that final.
Lisandro Martinez no play like saying just dey come
All
back.
transfer rumors.
That one they play 2-1. Na last victory be for Xavi before he carry load comot for Barcelona.
Okay now, Monday to Friday 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. we go run una autori for sports matter, football, basketball, tennis, and even our local sports. If na EPL, e dey. Italian Serie A nko, e dey. Spanish La Liga, e dey. MPFL, no dull yourself. Even predictions wey dey enter, that one sef dey. Sports Assembly on World Radio 89.3 FM. Sports lovers, no shaking. Meet Sam Adeliri, una one and only Sadeliri, and the Sports IQ on top Sports Assembly on World Radio 89.3 FM, where sports matter, they share.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go!
Hey there! Want to stay connected to your favorite radio station? Follow us on social media for the latest updates, entertaining wholesome content, and behind-the-scene peeks. We're on Instagram at Wells Radio 893, Facebook Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, X Wells Radio 893. Follow our WhatsApp channel Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Get a scoop on upcoming shows, giveaways, and events. Also get to interact with your favorite presenters and share your thoughts on our posts and stories. Join the conversation and stay tuned into Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ polówó ọjà yín lórí rédíò tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ máa ta wàràwàrà bọ́ mẹ́ta ṣe ń tà West Radio ní kẹ́ ẹ máa bọ̀ o àfẹ̀tiwa gbé tiyín lárugẹ owó owó ò ga jára lọ o come for your jingle and advertisement at West Radio 89.3 FM gbogbo lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ àti lájọ̀lájọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti kéékèèké ẹ̀yin ilé ìjọsìn pátápátá ẹ máa bọ̀ ẹ wá gbé wò ẹ jẹ́ wò ẹ jọ́ wò ẹ tọ́ wò jọ́ gbà kọ́ga ni mástà. kí lẹ tún dúró ṣe náà. ẹ má ṣe tàbí ṣùgbọ́n o. ẹ máa bọ̀ wá sílé iṣẹ́ wa. gbàǹgbà la wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títì. ilé funfun pẹ̀lú àwọ̀ búlù. West Broadcasting House ní Aláàfin Avenue Olúyọ̀lé Estate Ìbàdàn Ọ̀yọ́ State Nàìjíríà. ẹ̀lú 07066165053 tàbí 08035093394 West Radio 89.3 FM ọlọ́run gbọ́ gbogbo ń tẹ́ fẹ́ ojú kan ló wà.
Nna ọ bụ gịnị na-akpọtụ?
Nwanne m biko were ọsọ were ije bịa nụrụ ihe m na-anụ n'oge ụwa ndị Igbo. Ịnafite gị ntị ugbu a site na Wells Radio 89.3 FM kwa Tuesday ọbụla ọkụ elekere 3 nke ehihie wee ruo elekere 4.
Chukwuemeka Munachiso na-ahazi okwu n'oge ụwa ndị Igbo. Suba Igbo, bilie Igbo elu.
89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Welcome back on West Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred awesome radio. This is ORO AGBE, the word in agriculture on West Radio 89.3 FM. My name is Daniel Ogunsola, Dikin Dan on here. And we've been talking about the food safety and how sure and how safe is the foods you eat day in, day out. Because the starting point of wealth is health. And the starting point of health, of a good health, is good food. And food, when we're talking about food, we're talking about food and water. So I'm a sure joke bole and saying key no kele bole key bawa dasi or tonlo and 0916-893-1000 0916-893-1000 0915-3334-893 0915-3334-893 and 0911-3333-893. Let me call the number again, studio line again, 0916-893-1000, 0915-334-893, and 0911-3333-893. And we have established that government has a role to play. We have established that input suppliers has a role to play. And we have established that the farmers too has a role to play. And establish that the consumers has a role to play. Now, let's break it down before we bring this show to a close. When a food is poisoned or unsafe, who is responsible?
When the food is poisoned and unsafe.
Yes.
Is it who is responsible now, or who should take responsibility?
Who should take responsibility?
Yes, because responsibility here
is shared across all the actors.
Yes, so
who should take responsibility?
The person who should take responsibility here now should be the person who will be most harmed by that food. I don't know if I am making a point.
Why? Because now.
Now.
No, for instance, when we are traveling.
We are talking about cause and effect.
The cause and effect.
Now, if we are saying who is responsible, that means we are still giving attention to the cause. So I think at this point we should be talking about
the effect.
The effect. So if we are going to be talking about the effect, I think the person who should be most concerned about the effect should be the consumer.
So why should consumer be more concerned? Okay,
because
let's pick this call, please. So why should the consumer be more concerned?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to West Radio 9.3 FM. ORO AGBE on here.
Yeah, my name is Tope. I'm calling from Akwete.
Oh, okay, Mr. Tope, you're online, please. Should it?
Okay. I really appreciate the safety man today. At least he has done enough of stuff. At least making us understand that food safety starts from where the food is. So I want to speak to that aspect of GM.
Okay,
now,
GM. Okay.
You made mention of something in relation to chemicals. When you look at some of these chemicals that we are putting in this we are using as a farmer, it has destroyed a lot of our old products. Like when you look at chemicals, they produce Ewedu and the like. Ewedu in your mother da. And when you look at our whole set of yam, no longer available. And these things are real. Now talking about GMO now, I think this is no longer safety for our consumption. You may say America consume it, but our own land here, if you look at our land, is so versatile that we can use our whole products and we have the good stuff. So that's aspect of safe. I think that GMO is not safe our hands. Black. I don't know. Some of these chemicals are seriously affecting us. So government is not taking consideration.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tope, for your call. Yeah, we'll look into that. Yeah, let's go back to.
Okay, let me quickly just make a response to what Mr. Tope said.
Okay.
I think we are not. There's an aspect of impute in this country we don't look at. We don't look at conspiracy and criminalization of imputes. What do I mean? Yes, no, it's very important. No, it's very important we address it because the reason is, you know that one of the biggest global challenge GMO is dealing with right now is that there is a big conspiracy behind it that believes that some interests are sponsoring some things to their benefit. We know when we talk about the big pharmaceutical companies, the big input companies. So some of these things are not, the ulterior motive is different from what GMO in itself should be. So imagine if you are bringing in because that's why it says conspiracy. Imagine if there's a conspiracy between. That's why I'm using the word between the manufacturing companies, the government, the health sector. Because now one of the major reasons why GMO became a big subject of discussion in sub-Saharan Africa was basically the increase in kidney failures. And of course, like we know, renal issues. Yes. And we know the kidney and the liver, they play a great role where they filter. Food. And
the main factor is the food.
The chemical impurities is what we are basically talking about here. So they end up in the kidney and in the liver. So at the end of the day, everybody is beginning to ask themselves questions. How come we are having this surge? And the conventional reasoning is what you are taking in. So I also tend to think as an individual now. I'm not talking now as a professional. I'm thinking as an individual, speaking emotionally. Because somebody who have lost 3 close relatives to kidney failure, I know what I'm talking about. So I also feel towards that direction. So that takes us back to the question. What if it's being viewed as which I think the government should see it as a criminal issue, that some of these things that are being brought into the country, are there ulterior motives to them? Is it just beyond just coming to sell a product? Or there is a conspiracy that there is an alignment? Because over a huge number, the amount of money that Nigerians spend on kidney transplant or renal-related issues abroad, taking their people out of the country. So I think there is a lot of things behind it. So let me just leave that there. Let's see, because I can get a bit emotional on it.
Don't go to that side. And I said earlier, because one of the goals this show wants to achieve today is to ensure that listeners have the adequate information and able to know that when it comes to your health is wealth, and it is your responsibility to take good care of yourself. And the core component of your health is the kidney and liver, as been said, and they are the filtering components. And what they filter out is the food and the water you consumed. They will take the good one and the filter the bad one. And the moment they shut down, when they don't have the capacity by virtue of any force or anything to do the filtering again, another thing happen. So that's why I want listeners to understand that it is your okay. So let's go back to that before we bring the show to a close today. So because they need to understand that it is their responsibility. They need to take responsibility for every food they eat. Now, when most of us are traveling, and probably you are thirsty or you are hungry, you just wave on to somebody selling bottled water. Give me a bottled water. Give me a sachet water. Give me this, give me that on the journey. Because we felt. But if you have to take responsibility, what stops you from bringing your own water? The one you are sure of? What stops you from getting whatever you want to get? Because...
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Because most of those things...
Now, let's really...
they are contaminated.
I'm really happy that we got that feedback. Let's really start by asking ourselves questions. A product can be safe indoors. It should not be safe outdoors.
Because you don't have control over it.
Because the temperature, the change in temperature outside can change the state of safety of a particular product. I'll give an example with sachet water.
Yes.
A sachet water indoors has a different composition with a sachet water outdoor.
Being beaten by the sun.
Because the temperature have already caused a reaction between the water and the nylon. So now, the sachet water you are taking indoors might be safe, but the one you are taking outdoor already has impurities. And these are part of the issues we are talking about. So why did I use that as an example? And it's not just sachet alone. It cuts across a lot of other things. So where do we start safety from? Knowledge. We spend too much time on things that have no value to us. The time you use to move from one site to another, from one social media to that, why don't you use it to read about what is important to you? I started by talking about various temperatures that we should store our items. Why don't you find information? Because it's a little living. It's a little living. A little. People say, beg, is it today? This is not a kid black man. You know, we hear all sorts of stuff. They just accumulate. After a time, they all begin to hit back. You can see somebody who had been taking in junks for 30, 40 years. Then at 42, 43, it begins to ask by say, no, how can you trace? It's a collection of all. There is need for both parties to acquire knowledge. Consumers should have knowledge. They should ask themselves, what do I eat? Why do I eat this thing? What constitutes this thing? Do you know an average? What's an average? An average is an understatement. I'm sure 9 out of 10 Nigerians never bother to read the content of anything they buy in the supermarket. Now, reading the content is one thing. They don't even go a step further to understand what are the relevance of those compositions
put together.
Now, there is this discussion that has been going, okay, let me avoid it. I was going to mention it. Because, the question really is, so there is need for us to acquire knowledge. Because the essence of knowledge is to guide decision making. So you begin to ask yourself, it's not like a lot of people are so fast at taking all manner of salads, all manner of food, forgetting the fact that there are a lot of things that are involved. So I think there's need for us to take responsibility. The consumer should take responsibility in terms of acquisition of knowledge, and 2, should take responsibility in decisions that he makes. Likewise, the farmer. The farmer should understand that he owes the society a social responsibility. Despite the fact that your Gary in Bodija market, we will not be able to trace it. But you should also know that there is a social responsibility that is on you to ensure that, though you don't know the people who will be consuming this item, but it's good for you to remember that for the fact that you have contributed to this input in the market, you should take responsibility also. There's need for the farmers to also ask themselves, this thing I'm going to put out, is it safe for them to eat? I've seen people who are into productions, they use their feet to step on items that they are selling. Because I asked the question that, if you were going to eat that item yourself, will you do that?
No, most of them, they do eat from it because they are not conscious of the impact of what they are eating, the effect on themselves. And by virtue of their status and their knowledge base, their knowledge can only accommodate what they are consuming. But others that want to consume more, but if they know better, if there are control measures put in place by the government, definitely.
Thank you.
Things will change.
As much as we try to avoid the government, I think there is. I also want to drop this thought. I'm sure we are rounding up. There is need for us, for our social orientation agencies. They are not doing enough. Our orientation agencies.
I don't do anything at all.
Our orientation agencies only focus on political orientation when we call them out. That is the only time you hear them. Go and vote. Go and register. Come and take this. What happens to orientation? Food, security, safety. Now, we are faster saying an average farmer is not uneducated, but they can hear, they can reason. If somebody brings those information to them, this is the reason why. Do you know how many people don't even know the place of fermentation in food processing? So our orientation agencies should take this message down to the people at the bottom of the chain so that we all begin to take general responsibility.
Yeah, as we bring this show to a close, one word for the government, one word for the input suppliers, one word for the farmers, and one word for the consumers.
Government, please do your job. That's just all. Government, do your job. We have government.
The job they don't know.
No, they know. Sorry, they do know. If part of the responsibility of government is to acquire knowledge. So part of doing their job starts from acquiring knowledge. They should do their job. The input producers, be human. Just be human. Try as much as possible and let humanity speak to you. Not just because you want to make profits. You are not thinking about the consequences of the things you are putting in the market. Taking advantage of the ignorance of the market because it profits you. Then for the farmer, also be human. Acquire knowledge. It's called business. Another word for business is work. Ishe. Work. Acquire knowledge. Call your children are in school. Ask them, read this thing. Bring out your phone. Check. What do they say this thing does? This and this does. What are the alternatives we have to them? They be disciplined. Because that's the reason why these guys can escape in developed economy. Because they will tell you, go to our website. We put all the checks there. We told you these are some of these things. So you signed. Just like all of us, we are fast at clicking, I agree to various downloads without even reading what we are agreeing to. So I think everybody should take responsibility. Then most importantly, the consumer is your life that is at stake, not just your money. When you remember your children, you remember your parents, you remember things you desire to do as a living being, what you eat plays a role.
Yeah, Mr. Dawood, thank you for coming on ORO AGBE today. I really appreciate your comment.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, to our listeners over there, I believe you have learned 1, 2, 3 things. Number one, it starts from you and it ends with you. How safe is the food you are eating? How safe is the food you buy? And how safe is the food you preserve? It is your responsibility to know what and what. And as been discussed on this show, please do give in the detailed commitment to acquire knowledge. It's not your status that speaks what you should eat. Let your life, the value you place on your life, your family, your children, determines what you eat. Status will tell you to buy anything imported, anything chemicalized. But one thing is the effect will not be only on you, the effect will be on your entire family. How safe is the food you eat? And their government, please, you hold responsibility to make sure you protect lives and property. How well are you protecting the lives and property put in your care? The governors, local government chairmen, the presidents, senators, everybody concerned, how well? And rate yourself, what are you doing to ensure that the food that your citizens eat are well safe and secure? And beyond that, farmers, be human. Input suppliers and producers, be human. Until next week again, we come your way on ORO AGBE on West Radio 89.3. Believes and know that every action you take matters and it influences the future all of us desire. My name is Daniel Ogunsola. And until next week, we'll right back, do the right thing at the right time in the right way.